Today, I'm going to talk about how to connect with your true self. But before I go on how to connect with your true self, and I'll give you, I think it's 3 tips about how you can strengthen that connection. I would like to touch on what true self means, because some people believe that their true self or their higher self, it's something outside of themselves, kind of. You know they know it's within them, but it's kind of, they feel it's a divine force that can't be seen or can't be reached, like God, right? Or the universe or source. A higher self is not that. Yeah, your true self is the stable, is the courageous, is the loving, humble, creative, and honest parts of you. Is the part of you that is always steady, that is unaffected by the outside world. Is the part of you that you can always count on, no matter what is happening around you, or what or who lets you down. I like to think that our true selves are our best friends, because they are within us, but they are always with us. So it's not like many people believe that it's something outside of ourselves that cannot be reached. In fact, no, it's just within, and it's always with us, and it's just a part of who we are. And living deeply connected and in alignment with your true self eliminates, most of the struggle, most of the unnecessary pain, most of the overwhelm that we feel when we identify with our ego, when we identify with what is happening on the surface level. But the mistake that most of us make, me included, is that when something uncomfortable and unexpected happens, we tend to fall into the wounded ego. We tend to dramatize what's happening. And then we end up feeling lost, feeling hopeless, feeling with lack of control, and we fall into the shadow archetypes of the child and the victim. But the truth is, without true and strong connection with our true selves, we start to feel very drained. We start to feel that life is hard and life is unfair, or things that are happening are unfair. And instead of looking at things are happening for us, we tend to look at things as things are happening to us. And then we get frustrated and we get lost, and we start comparing ourselves to other people. We start being competitive, and we start worrying about what other people think and say about ourselves. But that's because we are not in connection with our true selves. And then what happens is this becomes this never-ending struggle, spinning around in this loop in our minds, that affects our energy, that affects our emotions, and therefore we feel like life is too hard, and we feel with obstacles, and it's not fair. It's just not fair, and it's like everything is happening to us rather than for us, right? But I want to reassure you that, it's okay. It's okay that you feel that way, because we all do it. As I said, we are soul beings having a human experience, and part of being human is living with this duality. And the ego, which is part of our human experience, is always called upon as a protective mechanism when our safety, when our security, feels threatened. Our nervous system will always react to what we perceive that threatens our um, sense of safety and sense of security. And then it will activate trauma that is stored in our bodies and in our unconscious mind. That's what we call the fight, flight, or freeze response. When we react uh, instantly to a situation that we can see if it's a fight, flight, or freeze response, is because our nervous system, has been activated. And most times we are doing this on an unconscious level because it's our human instinct um, to do it. And we are unconsciously programmed to go back to a past experience that, wounded us and that is now being triggered. So having like the awareness of this is like part of being human, and it's just a natural thing that our nervous system will respond this way, and allowing yourself to feel the fear, to feel the uncomfortable, you know, will help you to bounce back much quicker and respond from a place of your true self, which is the part of you that is calm, that is secure, that is courageous, that is loving, rather than react from a place of ego. Because, your true self is the part of you that is looking out through your eyes, not your mind. Your mind is the ego. But your true self looks with the eyes. He observes. He observes your thoughts, speaks to you through your intuition, through your gut feeling, or, your inner voice, or just that inner knowing that you can't explain, but is there. So, yeah, living in the true self, it is something that cannot be forced. You can't just read about it or take a course about it um, and force it. You have to experience it. And you have to experience it as truth. And there are some ways that you can strengthen your connection with your true self. And I will touch on some of them. But, first of all, it is really important that you learn to regulate your nervous system. And how do you do that? First of all, by having the awareness of your fears, of your limiting beliefs, of the things that trigger you and that make you go into that place of fight, flight, or freeze response. What is your natural way of responding? Is it fight? Like you get very reactive, you get really like impulsive, you speak up like straight away, or you go physically, like you go and fight? Or do you flight, meaning like you just avoid? you go into avoidance. You avoid conflict, you avoid dealing with the situation, you avoid seeing the person, you avoid going to a place because you just can't deal with it. Or you go to a place of freeze, like you just can't say anything. You just can't react. You just get into that place of, I don't know what to do. Like you procrastinate and you really don't know what to do. You feel lost. You feel, I don't know how to react to this. So you just get silent. You do nothing. And you go into your own shell to protect yourself. So it's really important that you know how you respond to things when you are triggered, and what are those things that trigger you, that activate your nervous system. What are the fears that get activated the most? What are the limiting beliefs that get activated the most? So before you even start to strengthen your connection with your intuition, or your true self, having this awareness and being able to regulate your nervous system is like the first step. And the second thing is to create a daily routine where you feel that there is a balance between your inner world, your inner connection, you nurturing your soul, you're nurturing your spirit, you're nurturing your being, but also with your external world, such as your family, your chores, your work. You need to find a way of balancing it out, because as much as your soul craves that inner connection, if you don't make space for it, but also you don't feel like you have the other side, like the human side of, being here, which is, the roles you play in life, your work, your family, and all of these responsibilities and duties that you have. If you feel like you don't have control, or you're always running around, always rushing, always behind on things, obviously, if there is an imbalance here, you're not going to be able to truly commit to creating the space for your soul, creating space to connect with your true self. Because just the fact that you take 10-15 minutes to do a meditation or to do something that will nurture that connection, you feel like, I have no time for this, I'm very busy, I have all of these other things to do, I'm a mom, or I have responsibilities at work, I have to do this, I have deadlines, I just don't have the time. And most of us, we get to that thing, to that excuse that we say that we don't have time, that we are busy. And sometimes we are not busy in the being. Most of times we are busy in the doing, or the idea that we are in the doing. We can have all of this list of things to do. Most of times we procrastinate, and that's why then we are rushing from one place to the other and feeling very busy, because we are not creating a routine. We are not creating a balance in our lives, right? So always focus on nurturing and balancing your mind, your body, and your spirit. And those are the three things that will help you strengthen the connection with your true self. To nurture your mind, step back from the feelings of the ego. Anything that the ego, any fears, any limiting beliefs, any things that get activated, that get heightened, try and step back from it. Try to look at it from an outside of picture perspective. Practice reflection. And, that is a thing that I keep going on and on and on about. Because to me, reflection is the key to process what's going on in our lives and to progress and to grow spiritually as people, as souls. To me, that's the key, is being able to go inwards and to reflect and to be aware of what are the triggers, what are the patterns, what are the cycles, what are the difficult emotions, what are the limited beliefs, that's really important, because when we tend to our soul and we reflect, we are able to disclose a lot of things that's being in your mind all the time, trying to find a logic for it. We fail to understand. Reflection is not so much thinking, trying to get a logical sense of things. It's more observing. It's more being able to observe and to learn from the observations that we are able to do. And I would recommend you start a spiritual practice of soul writing or journaling by spending 15 minutes each evening writing about your lessons of the day, like any triggers that you have experienced during the day, or things that you learned about yourself, or things you realize that you cannot let go of. Like just spending 50 minutes introspecting through journaling, through writing, will allow you to observe your emotions rather than being pulled by them, okay? And then getting manipulated by your ego, because that's what the ego does. It manipulates you into thinking that the memories that it shows you, the images, the fears, that they are real. And sometimes they are distorted. Most times they are distorted, right? So spend some time reflecting, because that will be life-changing for you. Now, the body. How to nurture your body to strengthen your connection with your true self. I would say eat food that nourishes your body and take time to connect with the food that your body needs, that your body craves, as well as practicing mindful eating. We most times, because we are so busy, we tend just to grab whatever is in front of us or that is easier to cook, a takeaway, or just, a bag of crisps or something that is not nourishing, like doesn't have the proteins, the nutrients to cleanse and to get energized, right? And then because we are always rushing, we tend to eat very, very fast without paying attention to how it tastes, how it feels, right? How it feels in our tongue, in our taste buds, the textures, all of these things. So mindful eating, it's really good because it brings you back to the moment. It brings you to the present moment, rather than you eating without paying attention or anything, because your mind is already worrying about what you have to do next, right? So try and practice mindful eating and nourish your body, and also move your body. It doesn't have to be like going to the gym, going for a run, anything that's too out there. Actually, I would recommend doing something that brings you back to your breathing. It moves your body, moves your circulation, but that your body flows rather than just be very active. So I would say, like, go for a walk, do some yoga, or any like slow activity that allows you to feel the flow, that will promote circulation, that will allow you to feel alive, but without like going too much into activity. But if you want to, if you actually love to do exercise and do all of that, do it. Do it. It's important. The main thing here is that is important is to move your body. Just to get rid of that stagnant energy, bring up the circulation, and that makes you feel alive. Okay? And then your spirit. Nurture your spirit. And the way to truly experience connection with your true self is through stillness. Is through creating space to be still, to be silent. And to me, there isn't a better way than doing meditation. Just 5-10 minutes of meditation on a regular basis, just to try and create the practice of meditating. Either like first thing when you wake up, when you're still in that sleeping phase, like you're not awake but you're not sleeping, just closing your eyes, bringing your attention to your breathing, just to prepare you for the day. 5 minutes is fine, 10 before you get up and go on with your day, or in the evening before you go to bed. So you can create space to connect with your true self. That's really important. But it's just balancing these 3 pillars: mind, body, and spirit. Think about a triangle, right? A trifecta. Mind, body, and spirit. This has to be balanced in order for you to feel like you are in control of your humanness, of all the responsibilities, all of the duties that you have as being human, but also you create space and time for a practice that allows you to be connected with your true self, so you don't feel drained, so you don't feel lost, so you don't start feeling very vulnerable and competitive and worrying about what other people think and thinking that life is too hard, too difficult, and that things are happening to you. Once you balance this trifecta, once you balance this and you create the space to connect with your true self, you will feel much in flow. Remember, connecting with your true self, or your true self, is just the part of you. The part of you, nothing external, is the part of you that is calm, that is loving, that is honest, that is secure, that is confident. So it's just going back to that part of you. That's all that is. And I will speak to you next week. Bye.